She is not the chief architect of our web portal. That is another false statement. And what she was doing was she was putting data on the portal which the scientists didn't believe was valid data. So she didn't listen to the people who were her superiors. She had many people above her in the chain of command. And so she was dismissed because of that.
It must have just been so frustrating to hear DeSantis just attack you as a sort of just a minor figure because you knew that that wasn't true.
I didn't really, here's the thing that it's like everybody thinks I was so offended by that. I didn't really need validation from DeSantis about who built it or about who managed it. I mean, I knew. I wasn't insecure about it. Everybody who was involved in my field knew, which was more important. I didn't feel the need to come out and say that, you know, I built it, because I did build it and I've rebuilt it and I rebuilt it better. So without having DOH breathing down my neck about how to subtly hide things, I can do it freely and make sure that it is a fair representation of the data that they have. So that didn't hurt my feelings. The weird thing that did, and I found strange and wildly inappropriate, was the things that he brought up about my personal life.
You're kind of minimized and derided, and at the same time, DeSantis is saying we won, he's being celebrated, you're out of a job, DeSantis is being praised as the next president of the United States. You know, 2024, DeSantis, here we come. Once he starts celebrating the reopening and how well it's going, what's going through your mind as you're watching that?
So the now famous clip of him saying that, you know, it didn't happen in Florida. Everybody said it was gonna be terrible and it wasn't.
And a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was gonna be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's gonna be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that and it hasn't happened.
Literally 2 minutes before that, he was accusing me of crimes or of investigations that didn't exist.
Come to find out, she's also under active criminal charges in the state of Florida. She's being charged with cyber stalking and cyber sexual harassment. So I've asked the Department of Health to explain to me how someone would be allowed to be charged with that and continue on, because this was many months ago. I have a zero tolerance policy for sexual harassment. So her supervisor dismissed her because of a lot of those reasons, and it was a totally valid way, but she should have been dismissed long before that.
He said I was under active investigation for sexual harassment, which was false. I learned from my lawyers that a public official in doing their job, in the capacity of their job, is shielded from all defamation lawsuits in Florida. So even though what he said is false, provably false, there's nothing I can do about it. But then he brought up what he was speaking about was actually about a really painful thing I went through years ago in college when I dated a classmate, and it turned very volatile. And he was violent and showed up to my work and sexually assaulted me. I filed a police report for it, which I found interesting that nobody seemed to want to dig up when talking about this. In a therapeutic type of purpose, I wrote about what happened. And I, as a writer, found it actually really healing to write about it. And I had a friend who was doing a blog series about, you know, surviving types of abuse that aren't as straight up as your husband punches you in the head every time you don't do the dishes or something like that. And mine was mostly about gaslighting and really kind of the types of assault that happen in intimate relationships that feel wrong, but there might not necessarily be a law against. And I let her put it up on one of her sites, and he claimed that publishing that with his name and sharing it to people was cyber harassment. And so that's where that comes from.
Are you surprised by what's happening in Florida right now?
No, absolutely not. This is everything that I was trying to warn people about, that Scott Pritchard was trying to warn people about. It was inevitable that if you push policies that defy the science, you're going to have a problem. There's going to be a surge in cases, but that's what the whole point of that analysis was to see if any of those places were ready, have leveled off or decreased in cases to be able to reopen, and none of them did. And they did it anyways.